So I'm back with another video for Tekken Bloodline, and this is going to be about episodes 3 and 4. I'm doing 2 of them in one video today because there was a lot that happened in these 2 episodes alone. In the beginning of the episode, we get to see Jin, and we get to see Ro Wang. They say Ro Wang, that's how they pronounce it, but I'm just going to call him the way I call him, his name. But you see the rivalry between the two in the beginning as they can't wait to face off against each other in the tournament. And then we get a couple of fan favorites in the beginning of the episode as well. The beautiful assassin known as Nina Williams. Paul Phoenix is here, and instead of having Michelle in this particular Tekken series or Tekken outing in anime, because I believe Michelle, her mother, was in the first one that came out a long time ago, which wasn't very good. I talked about it in the first episode, upload about the first episode. They have her daughter in this one, known as Julia, and she's also one of my favorite characters. I love that character, and she's also known as JC in Tekken 6. She does the wrestling moves and stuff like that. So we're introduced to 3 fan favorite characters as they get inside this limousine that's right behind them, and they are driven to their destination for the King of Iron Fist tournament. Now, in this episode, they discuss Kazuya, who is Jin's father, a lot in this episode alone. And Jin starts to become very curious as to what happened to his father, because he was never told about his father from his mother. She pretty much shielded him from the Mishimas all his life, because she didn't want him to turn out the way that Kazuya did, and didn't really want anything to do with Heihachi. Now, in the first episode, when she dies, she tells him to find his grandfather because she realizes that's his only family, so he needs to know his other family if she's gone. But she was willing to take care of him on her own, away from the Mishimas, because they are nothing but poison, which is also relayed by Nina Williams in the beginning of this episode, saying that Kazuya is dead and the world is a better place for it.
If Kazuya Mishima is dead, the world is a better place for it.
So Nina has a hatred for Kazuya Mishima, and she doesn't really like Heihachi that much either. Now, a very interesting and delightful surprise was the fact that we see Leroy Smith in this particular episode, because he is one of the newer characters from Tekken 7, and even though we did see him in the intro, it's just cool to see him in animated form amongst some of the other Tekken fighters. Now, before I go on, because I want to get these particular details out the way, they did show some other fan favorites in this anime episode, but we don't really get to see them fight at all. They're just basically doing cameos. We've got Martial Law, Anna Williams, who is Nina Williams' sister and also an assassin as well. The boxer who made his first appearance in Tekken 4, Steve Fox. Valtudo wrestler Craig Murdoch. We're really going with the bear too? Oh my god. Kuma is here as well. Well, at least they didn't have Panda. And Yoshimitsu shows up as well, but no Kunimitsu. And one of the characters that I don't really care for in Tekken, because I just don't like him, is, oh god, somebody's ringing my phone, but this is Fang. Lei Wulong is here as well. It's too bad that they didn't really show him fight. And of course, King. This is the night before the tournament, so Jin decides to go after Nina Williams to learn more information about his father, Kazuya, and what happened at the tournament. He also wants to talk to Heihachi about it as well. But before he can talk to Nina, Leroy stands in his way and tells him a few things. He tells Jin that Heihachi is despicable and untrustworthy, and he believes that Jin is Heihachi's lapdog, and that makes him Leroy's enemy. Without warning, he just attacks Jin. He attacks Jin with such force that he knocks Jin back. Jin's not willing to back down from the fight, because he wants to prove how strong he is being taught under the tutelage of Heihachi Mishima, even though he's not Heihachi's lapdog. But if they were to fight right now, they'd both be disqualified. Heihachi happens to see this from a distance, and he knows that Leroy Wilson does not like him and has a vendetta against him. Is it Leroy Wilson? I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I got that phone call. Leroy Smith. My apologies for that. Anyway, I'm going to keep on recording, whatever, I'm doing it anyway. So he decides to ask his assistant to set up a match between Jin and Leroy. Leroy being Jin's first opponent. Eventually, Jin does catch up with Nina and ask her more about his father. But she doesn't want to be bothered to talk about him and says the same thing she said in the beginning of the episode. As it goes, she believes the Mishima bloodline is poison, and she's glad that Kazuya is dead. Luckily for Jin, he runs into Paul Phoenix, who actually witnessed the fight between Heihachi and Kazuya. The first fight, Kazuya won, and apparently it killed Heihachi, but Heihachi came back somehow from the dead, and in Paul Phoenix's words, and fought Kazuya again, and Paul Phoenix witnessed this and also believes that Heihachi probably did kill Kazuya. And this makes Jin question what happened to his father. He needs to get answers, so he goes directly to the source, Heihachi. And to me, this is the focal point of this episode, because in this particular scene itself, which I can't show you because if I do, Netflix will have the video blocked. Heihachi explains that his son Kazuya was always rotten as far as he's concerned, and Kazuma was born with this genetic abnormality called the devil gene. And of course, when Jin finds out about this, he realizes that he probably possessed the devil gene as well, because he is Kazuya's son. And we come to find out that Jin now realizes the reason why Ogre came in the first place. He didn't come for his mother June. He came for him because he could sense the devil gene inside of him. Even though it was lying dormant, he could sense it. So Jin now realizes why Ogre was there. It wasn't to kill his mother, it was to kill him. And that to me was the most focal point of this entire episode 3. That you found this out. Now we already know that Jin has a devil gene because it's hereditary through his father to him. So we already know that he turns into devil gene later on in the series, the Tekken series, the video game series. But I thought it was cool that they actually put this bit of history, this bit of lore into the episode. Now Heihachi wants this ogre, this demonic force, to come for his own, nefarious reasons, of course. Whereas Jin just wants revenge for the death of his mother. Heihachi once again reiterates the fact that Jin must be at his strongest. He must remember his teachings, he must remember his training, and he must defeat Ogre. But he's not going to give the true intentions behind why he wants Ogre to appear. Of course not.
Do you believe Jin is strong enough to defeat it?
It doesn't matter if he can beat him. I only need Kazama to lure Ogre into the open.
So Heihachi has these plans of his own that involve Ogre, and he's not about to let anyone know about it, even his assistant, at this time. So that's pretty much the end of episode 3. It pretty much just talks about the devil gene, Jin wondering about his father. So that's all of episode 3. I thought it was a very interesting episode. It wasn't a lot of fighting, and it was mostly talking and flashbacks to Kazuya and Heihachi fighting. But it was a really well put episode, well written episode, and it talked about the lore of the characters, and I really liked it. I thought it was really good. Now, when we get to episode 4, that's when the action really starts. It's the day of the tournament in episode 4 as it begins, and Ling Xiaoyu meets up with Jin just as he's about to prepare for his first match against Leroy. And what a fight they gave us in the opening of this episode as Leroy Smith takes on Jin. He has him on the ropes for a little bit, but Jin is able to block his attacks and counter. The fact that Leroy is even going toe-to-toe and giving Jin a hard time is pretty much irritating to Ro Wang, because he wants to be the one to fight Jin and defeat him. So he looks on in irritation. And for the most part, they gave Leroy some good hits on Jin. You know, it wasn't like a total wash. I mean, Jin was holding his own, Leroy was holding his own, and like I said, the moves are just as authentic as you see them in the games. That one devastating move alone when he had caught Jin off balance and knocked him completely into the air was fucking awesome. But Jin realized that if he doesn't win this fight, especially his first fight, he's not going to be able to ever avenge his mother, and Ogre may never appear. So of course, you know what happens, ladies and gentlemen. First, Jin takes his ability away to stand, and then he proceeds to knock the living shit out of Leroy Smith with his foot. And you see that electricity that comes out, because it's just like the games, like I said, I've repeated over and over again. Well animated. God damn it, I wish I could show you how it looks, but like I said, Netflix will block the video, so I can't do that. But what a fucking match. You gotta give Leroy credit though, because Leroy kept getting up even though he was getting injured. He just kept getting up and, you know, using devastating blows against Jin. Jin catches him in the face right here. Devastating blow to the face right there, man. Now by this point, Jin is already in serious mode. He is like, I'm gonna win this match no matter what. He even tells Leroy to stay down, but Leroy is still looking at Jin as if he's Heihachi's lapdog or thug, which he calls him, and he refuses to give up. But Leroy has no choice but to give up once Jin breaks his leg. He can no longer continue to fight. And Jin wins his first match. While talking to Rowan, Jin starts to understand why Leroy didn't give up, because everybody that's at that tournament has something that's worth fighting for, something that's worth fighting for in their lives. Because he was trying to figure out why Leroy wouldn't quit. Now realizing that everybody at that tournament has something to lose or something to gain just like him, he decides to go and see how Leroy's doing. As he has a chat with Leroy Smith, the chat is soon interrupted by Heihachi Mishima. Heihachi tells Jin that he's wasting his time checking on Leroy because he beat him. That was his opponent. He was supposed to do that. That kind of pisses Jin off and kind of agitates him. It also really pisses off Leroy, who had earlier told Jin that the reason why he has such a hatred towards Heihachi is because Heihachi is responsible for the death of his loved ones. He didn't really reiterate, or I should say, he didn't really go into too much detail about which loved ones were killed. But I mean, come on, that's a good enough excuse to hate somebody. And you know, Heihachi Mishima is just as vicious, just as deadly as Kazuya. So with that being said, it was a nice little moment. That was a nice little exchange that they had between the two before the conversation was interrupted. But Leroy tells Heihachi that he's not done with him. He's going to get him sooner or later. So I don't know if there's going to be a season 2 of this. I hope there is, because it's been successful. So hopefully we get to see Leroy back in action. He could take on Heihachi. Don't know if he'll win, but he's definitely capable of going toe-to-toe with him. I can tell you that much. That was pretty much the whole episode. The only other fights that were in this that were really quick was the fight between Ling Xiaoyu and Nina, which surprisingly ended with Nina's defeat and Ling Xiaoyu being the winner. Now, Ling Xiaoyu is a great fighter. I've used her a number of times in the Tekken games, but seeing Nina lose was kind of shocking. It really was. The last fight of the episode was Jin taking on Rowan, and it was a decent fight. The rivalry was settled, and I liked the way it was animated. Like I said, the styles, the moves, everything was animated here and to authenticity. And at one point, he actually kicked Jin through a fucking wall, which was ridiculous. Now that shit was crazy. You could just see the still from this. He went through the goddamn wall from one of Wang's kicks. That was fucking nuts, man. Jin winds up defeating Rowan by using this uppercut, and it was animated so fucking spectacularly. Oh my god. So fucking amazing, man. I can't say enough about this damn show. So episodes 3 and 4 were really well written, really well done. Episode 3 was more about Kazuya, Jin learning more about his father and the devil gene. And of course, episode 4 here that I just did a review for was basically about the fights. It was all about the fighting, and it's going to continue to be about the fighting in the next 2 episodes, 5 and 6, which I'll do a video on coming up soon. Hello, beautiful. I haven't seen you fight yet. I'm looking forward to that. I love how this episode ended with them wanting to have a rematch again after a beer. It's so funny. But yeah, Tekken Bloodline I don't know if I want to call it a masterpiece, but god damn it, it's fucking great. It's so good to see a show that just gets released and it's actually a good show instead of some trash they just put out there for us to watch. Me being a Tekken fan, like most of the Tekken fans that are watching this show or have watched it and completed it, man, it's a breath of fresh air to see a show like this. So I'll be back with the next 2 episodes, 5 and 6, the final video for this until they do another season, which I'm sure they'll do. But until then, thanks for watching. Take care. Tekken Bloodline is great.